Does anybody in this room care about the cost of prescription drugs and what it means to America's working families? Does anyone care about the USMCA?
The impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump's dealings with Ukraine is overshadowing just about everything in Washington. That includes work on significant legislation, like a bill to lower the cost of prescription drugs and a new trade deal between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. But lawmakers Newsy spoke with on both sides of the aisle say they're optimistic at least some major reforms can still get done in this highly partisan environment, even if that has not historically been the case.
They'll still have plenty of floor time in the House to consider legislation, and I think they'll have a desire to keep moving issues related to health care, housing, education, living wage jobs, carbon pollution, even while the committee is addressing the impeachment inquiry.
I think the one thing we could do, and this depends on Nancy Pelosi, is the trade treaty between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. That's done. It's completed. I think they've consulted with the Democrats. I mean, there's been an attempt to make it a bipartisan thing. That would be at least one achievement.
But you don't need to look back that far to see how difficult bipartisanship can be during impeachment. President Bill Clinton's legislative agenda pretty much came to a halt once the House voted to launch impeachment proceedings against him in October of 1998. And that was during a time most experts agree Congress was less partisan. Before Congress launched its inquiry, Clinton worked with both parties to pass bills like the Children's Health Insurance Program, the Workforce Investment Act, and the Balanced Budget Act.
A balanced budget for 1999.
This Congress, however, didn't have many bipartisan achievements, even before impeachment.
I think both houses of Congress will continue to try to do their business in the coming months. Whether they're able to come to some basic agreement on some of these issues is another matter. Whether they're able to do something monumental, like infrastructure or some other health care issue, forget about it.
Even lawmakers admit that building a broad coalition around any legislation is tough right now.
There's not going to be a whole lot done or achieved simply because we disagree on things. The Democrat House, wants things like Medicare for all. We think it's a crazy notion to spend $60 trillion on something that we're already short for the current Medicare. We can't pay for what we have now. So I don't think we're going to find much agreement on things.
A recent Washington Post poll found a majority of Americans support the impeachment inquiry, but half say it's also distracting Congress from other important issues. At the same time, congressional approval, which is typically very low, has gone up since House Speaker Nancy Pelosi launched the probe.
My theory about the role of the Congress and the extent to which their approval has gone up, I believe relates to the fact that some of the people in Congress are talking about the Constitution and the fact that this is a constitutional process.